Welcome to the Village of Port Jefferson's organizational board meeting, meeting of the Board of Trustees. Barbara Sakovich, Village Clerk, would you mind calling the meeting to order?
Clerk will call the meeting to order.
Mayor, as a point of order, I believe best practice moving forward is to have the village clerk call the attendance of the meeting by announcing the trustee's name. They announce present, and after that process, announce to the mayor that there is a quorum present, and you can begin the meeting.
Very good.
Trustee Kisay. Present. Trustee Giuliano.
Present.
Trustee Biondo.
Present.
Mayor Shepro.
Present.
A quorum being present, Mayor, you can start the meeting.
Thank you. We'll start with mayoral appointments for the 2023-2024 term and beyond. There are two-year terms in addition to this. So Deputy Mayor, Trustee Rebecca Cassay. Commissioner of Finance, myself, Mayor Shepro. Commissioner of Public Works, Trustee Giuliano. Commissioner of Environmental Sustainability, Trustee Cassay. Commissioner of Parks, Trustee Giuliano. Commissioner of Public Safety, Court and Code, Mayor Shepro. Commissioner of Buildings, Trustee Biondo. Commissioner of Communications, Trustee Biondo. Commissioner of Recreation, Trustee Laux. And our Port Jefferson Harbor Commissioner reappointment is Harry Faulkner. For the officials of the village.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Commissioner to the country club? I don't see it.
I haven't appointed a commissioner to the country club. We have a general manager, and we haven't had a commissioner of the country club on the last organizational agenda either, I don't believe.
Liaison to the country club?
Liaison, I haven't appointed. Liaison will, the general manager will serve as the country club point of contact to the board and the mayor.
Mayor, in reference to the appointments made, just so the record's clear, I would ask you to make a motion and a second and a vote to accept those appointments.
Okay, motion to make these appointments. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is a motion to approve the officials of the village. The village clerk is Sylvia Perillo. Village treasurer, Donald Pierce. Village deputy treasurer, Michelle Ferrante. Assistant to the mayor, Maria Aubry. Interim village attorney, David J. Moran. Village ethics counsel, Stephen J. Leventhal. Village prosecutor will be a holdover, Richard Harris. Village budget officer, Mayor Shepro. Receiver of taxes, Donald Pierce. Deputy tax receiver, Kelly Riley. Village assessor, Paul D'Amato. Registrar, Marissa LeBron. Deputy registrar, Kelly Riley. Sub-registrar, Sylvia Perillo. Chief supervisor of code enforcement, Andy Owen. Secretary to Planning Zoning Board, Cindy Suarez. Official newspaper, Port Times Record. Village Board public forum meetings will be the first Monday of each month. Auditors, Cullen and Danowski LLP. Bond counsel, Hawkins, Delafield and Woods. Fiscal advisors, Munistat, and Labor counsel, Gerard Glass. So making a motion to approve these appointments as officials of the village. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Before we vote, I totally agree, Don Pierce is excellent. When I worked with him, he was an excellent treasurer that we had here at the village. I'm upset, though, that Denise is not being reappointed. And it's nothing against Don, because I have nothing but the utmost faith in him, and I think he's going to be a fantastic treasurer, but I'm going to have to vote no.
Mayor, in reference to the second in a motion, procedurally, you make a motion if, after the second, and then now it's before the board as a motion, the mayor, as the chair of the meeting, should any trustees have anything to say, you just say on the motion. It'll be at that time, if any of the trustees would like to speak on behalf of the motion made, and then you can take the vote.
Okay. So we don't have to go backwards on that one, do we? Okay. All right, thank you, Bob, for your comments. I appreciate that. There's no public comment for, I don't think, for this section, is there?
Not required.
I would vote no on that also.
Mayor, why don't we do this then, based on, to avoid any confusion, let's take the appointments in order and do roll call vote.
Okay.
If there, anything all in favor, aye. You don't need a roll call, but if there's any nays, we'll do a roll call vote on that appointment.
All right, sounds good. Village Clerk Sylvia Perillo.
Motion?
Motion,
Second. On the motion? All in favor? Aye.
aye. Sorry?
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay. Village Treasurer Donald Pierce. Motion, second.
On the motion? Aye.
Aye.
I'm opposed.
The motion fails.
Village Deputy Treasurer Michelle Ferrante. Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Assistant to the Mayor Maria Aubry. Motion,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Interim Village Attorney David J. Moran. Motion,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Village Ethics Council Stephen G. Leventhal, Esquire. Motion,
Make the motion.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Village Prosecutor, holdover, Richard Harris,
Well, that wouldn't get voted on.
not voted on because it's a holdover,
Right.
nothing to decide, okay. Village Budget Officer, Lauren Shepro. Mayor Shepro,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Receiver of Taxes, Donald Pierce. Motion,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'll vote for that.
Deputy Tax Receiver, Kelly Riley. Motion,
Make the motion.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, Stan? Abstaining? Okay. Village Assessor, Paul D'Amato. Motion,
I'll make the motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Registrar, Miss Marissa LeBron. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Deputy Registrar, Kelly Riley. Motion, Rebecca. Second,
Second.
Drew Biondo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sub-Registrar, Sylvia Perillo. Make the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chief Supervisor of Code Enforcement, Andy Owen. Second, Stan. All in favor? Motion passes. Secretary to Planning Zoning Board, Cindy Suarez. Rebecca, Stan seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass. Official newspaper, Port Times Record. Rebecca, motion, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I just want to make a disclosure.
Okay,
I have family members that work there, so I will abstain.
okay. Village Board Public Forum Meetings, first Monday of each month.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Rebecca, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Auditors, Colin Danowski, LLP. Motion,
I'll make the motion.
second. Rebecca, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bond Council, Hawkins, Delafield, and Woods.
The motion.
Second. Rebecca, all in favor?
Aye.
Fiscal Advisors, Munistat. Motion? Rebecca, second. Bob Giuliano, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Labor Council, Gerard Glass, motion.
I'll make the motion.
Stan seconds. Bob, motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Pass. Motion for mileage reimbursement. Any questions on this? Or do we have
Motion to accept the mileage reimbursement policy.
motion to accept the mileage reimbursement policy? Rebecca?
Second.
Second. Bob Giuliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to accept the meal reimbursement policy.
Motion.
Stan? Second.
Second.
Bob Giuliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to accept the special meeting notice regulation.
Motion.
A second.
Drew Biondo, second. Bob Giuliano, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Motion to accept the executive session policy.
I'll make the motion.
Question. Second sentence. Meeting or executive sessions to commence the public meeting
Correct.
You have to have a public meeting, then go into exec, so.
from the public.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
From the public.
Even for the purposes of solely having an executive session, you have to, you have to advertise it as a public meeting for the purposes of going into executive session,
Which we've done.
which we've done, I'm sure.
Motion to accept. Rebecca? Second by Stan, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve attendance at schools and conferences.
I'll make the motion.
Second Rebecca, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to accept the designation of official depositories.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Biondo, trustee Giuliano seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to accept the advanced approval of claims.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to accept the procurement policy.
I'll make the motion.
Giuliano, second by Rebecca Cassay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Motion to accept the next village organizational meeting being scheduled for Monday, July 1st.
Shouldn't that be after the fourth?
No,
No,
no, the first Monday of the month is when the,
So it can be before
Yeah.
swearing in.
yes.
yeah, swearing in.
You can swear in at the meeting.
Yeah.
You can even swear, and you should swear in if it's before the 4th. Am I right?
Swear it at noon on the first.
Right.
Okay.
We vote on it?
This
No,
motion?
we have to,
Well,
I'll make the
motion?
motion.
A second?
Second?
Discussion? You okay? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. That is the end of the organizational agenda. The next items are what we will be, the next is the business meeting, right? So we're just going to go through what the format of the meeting at 6 o'clock, the public meeting is. We're holding that at 6 o'clock. It will be live streamed. And you correct me if I am, okay. And so we've invited Suffolk County Police and also Code Enforcement to present at this meeting at 6 o'clock. And that's how we will do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll ask for their report. And Code will be giving about a 10-minute report, giving pretty much an overview on their purview and what they've been doing, and some statistics, just to bring the community up to date on the new leadership, and which is Andy Owen and Jim Murdocco will be supporting that presentation with some stats on some of the field appearance tickets that they've been writing and what they've been seeing out there.
Mayor, as a point of just general concern, is the way it's laid out on the agenda, is that the process is that you'll have the presentation first and then public comment?
Correct. The public comment will be separate from, there'll be an opportunity for the public to ask questions of the police and the code officers.
So it's public comment as related to, it's not public comment in general to the board?
Correct.
All right, I just wanted that clarification. Thank
And
you.
so we're moving public comment, in general public comment, into the first part of the meeting.
That's why I was.
Yes. So we will have specific public questions and comments of the enforcement, and then we'll go into public comment for the general meeting, and then move into action items and reports. So
There's not going to be public comment before board reports.
there will be public comment before board reports. Yes.
Question, point of order, if I might. There's approving minutes of the June 26th meeting, which obviously Bob and I
Right.
weren't part of.
I believe they're part of the packet.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
that's
would,
fine.
you would,
Yes,
abs-
I read
I
it.
think they would abstain, in,
If 3 of you abstain, then there's not enough to accept the minutes. The idea of them being in the packet, you have reviewed them, and although you weren't present, your
But
colleague from the
if-
board can speak to their veracity. and
if trustee Cassay and Laux and I approve them, that's, yeah. So,
There's enough to it.
yeah. Okay. So, motion to approve the minutes of the June 26th Board of Trustees meeting. Stan Laux, you second?
Second. Oh, no, I should
You
Right.
can.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and Rebecca will second it. All in favor? Okay,
And I'm going to abstain, yeah,
okay.
because it wasn't there.
The mayor's and board's committee reappointments, there's a motion to approve this in concept because there's one reappointment, Harry Faulkner, he's duplicated from the earlier session. But what we've been trying to identify are the accurate reappointments and, or the time expiration dates of these appointments. And I'm not sure we have the accurate records in hand based on documents that have been collected. So we're going to hold this over, or I guess I'm making a motion to hold this over until we can check back to former minutes of when these appointments were made, so that we have the accurate terms identified, and then we know whose terms have expired and whose terms are continuing. And then there are some who don't have terms indicated on the documents that we have been presented. So we will, again, do the work to find out when those appointments occurred and when they actually do expire, if that makes sense.
So you're looking for a motion to table this until we obtain the necessary information
Correct.
to do it accurately?
Correct. So I'm making a motion to table this until we have the information to be able to decide upon it, and so it's accurate. And second?
Second.
Discussion.
Just as a point, Mayor, so everyone's on board, and I know there's a public and some board members present, they remain in their current capacity with the full vigor and authority that they had until such time as the board accepts their reappointment in some fashion.
Okay, so it's a holdover, basically. Any interest in talking about the community?
Yeah, do you want me to do that now or during the public session? You know, the
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll hold that for the public session. Okay. Okay.
Oh, so we need to vote to table?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, passed. So next, I don't know if we need a motion on this, or if I'm just presenting this as a point in my report.
Does reestablish a subcommittee?
So to establish new commissions, boards, working groups. A motion, okay. So,
the members are identified and then establishing them, or?
You can't establish them and appoint them to a committee as something that doesn't exist. So you can create the committee, identify how many members, and then make the appointment. I understand the concern.
Mayor, do you know how many members of each of these?
There are best practices for these, but it's to be determined.
Is this something that, maybe you want to table this section to the next meeting, as we'll be opening all these up to the public anyway, so it's not, I don't know that there's going to be media?
I'm not sure we can open them up to the public if they don't exist,
Right.
is what I'm hearing, so.
I just, do we anticipate appointing people by the next meeting? Or is that process going to take a few weeks longer? Just to get the number, because I'm hearing that we need the number of participants in each committee?
Is that true? Do we need that to be established?
In reference to the establishment of committees, it would be beneficial to know how many members before you put it out to the public. We haven't really vetted this section. Like in reference to the finance committee, there's a resolution setting forth exactly what it is, their charge, and how many members. So
Okay.
it certainly would be beneficial.
So how about if we work with the finance committee to start, okay?
Mhm.
And then, because that we have established in the mission statement that's in the packet. And there's also a resolution prepared to establish.
Resolution number 13, you could make a motion to take out of order if you wish.
So,
Motion?
making a motion to take the Budget Finance Committee out of order,
Item number 13 on the agenda.
in item number 13 on the agenda. Yes, it's on
Second.
the agenda.
All in favor?
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Unanimous. Motion carries.
I'm happy to help work on essentially this for the other committees by the next meeting.
Can you speak into the, please?
So in reference to the other committees that are looking to be commissioned, I will be glad to work over the next couple of weeks to be sure that we have a document similar to the one we're looking at for the Budget and Finance Committee prepared for the board to review prior to the meeting and then to adopt, or discuss the adoption of.
As will I. So we'll work
Yeah.
together on
Yep.
that. And if anyone else would like to contribute to any of these new committees, boards,
Mayor, you have a motion on the table right now and has been approved to take number 13 out of order. So
yes.
stay focused on that at the moment.
So did we not pass that?
No, not yet. You've only
the
advanced it
motion?
on the calendar.
Okay, okay. So now I can talk about the motion to
Correct.
approve do we have a motion to approve the establishment of a Budget and Finance Committee to assist and make recommendations to the Village Board of Trustees in preparation of and review of the village's operating and capital budgets and in the review of the annual independent audit? Motion,
Second.
second, Juliano, all in favor? Motion
Aye.
passes. Okay. Motion to approve the following, the seasonal part-time hires. Any questions about this, or do we have a motion to approve what's listed here? I'll read them off. Jake Anderson, at the request of Jake Anderson, approved the rehire of Nicholas Jafaris as Port Jeff Country Club outside services, starting on June 29th at $16 per hour. At the request of Renee Limmerman, should we do these one by one?
You might as well, since you're reading them off.
Okay. Motion? Rebecca Kissay, second, Bob Giuliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion at the, at the request of Renee, at the request of Renee Lemmerman, approve the hiring of Lauren Calendrill as seasonal lifeguard camp counselor, starting on 6/30/23 at $15 an hour. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
I have a question about so these are in addition to, did like some of the seasonal hires leave? What is the, I know we had a great many seasonal hires. We had many seasonal hires before, so I'm just wondering if the capacity just needed to be increased, or?
So I can't answer that because I don't have that information. But typically, the hiring continues through, until the season's over,
Sure, just didn't know
to
if
supplement the
there was a problem, or
staff.
if there was,
But
okay.
she didn't hit the top.
Okay,
That was
very
the
good. So, yeah.
lifeguards and counselors.
Excellent, so this is rounding out. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have all the proper paperwork, lifeguard certification?
It appears also they've been working, so you would need a resolution to pay them anyway.
Save the village some money.
Yeah.
Thank you for volunteering.
So,
Yeah, right.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. At the request of Renee Lemmerman, approve the hiring of Julia Parada as seasonal lifeguard camp counselor, starting June 28th, 2023, at $15 an hour.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
At the request of Pat Sullivan, approve the hiring of Stephen Diamikis as Port Jeff Country Club laborer, starting June 1st, 2023, at $18 an hour. Motion, Rebecca Cassay. Second, Stan Laux. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Passed. At the request of Rich Harris, approve the Municity 5 Laserfiche integration change order at a cost of $5,000 as a one-time fee. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did I read that correctly, Barbara, for his correction there? Okay. At the request of Rich Harris, approve the Municity Annual Code Connect subscription and integration maintenance and implementation and training at a cost of $3,140 for year one, $2,874 for year two, and $2,960 for year three. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Accept the resignation of Village Attorney Egan and Golden, effective July 3rd, 2023. Motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
You're right. Mayor, if we just could get some clarification from my perspective, in reference to Connect subscriptions and maintenance and training, if that individual's here who requested that, are those things that have to be executed on behalf of the village? Like, who signs them?
No, it would be signed by the mayor.
All right, so we should add that to authorize you to execute those documents.
Okay.
Like, if you look further down the agenda, which is why I brought it up, authorize the mayor to enter into the easement agreement. You know, anytime we're executing or voting on these contracts, either the mayor or deputy mayor or their designee, or whoever you want to sign documents on your
Okay.
behalf,
Mhm.
should be noted.
Okay, so Barbara, you're okay to update that on the minutes? Okay.
Nope, we're good.
Item 7, authorize the mayor to enter into an easement agreement with Port Jefferson Crossing LLC to allow building encroachments onto the sidewalk adjacent to Station Street. Motion? Second?
Second.
Could you just explain that? before we-
Discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, well, luckily, Mr. Harris is here, and he can explain the nature of that easement, the need for it.
Regarding the Conifer 1 project, also known as the Port Jeff Crossings, which is adjacent to the Long Island Railroad Station. When the building was built, everything was done properly. Hello? There? Okay. After the final survey was conducted, it turned out that the building was built according to the wrong line of where it should have been. So in the end of it, there were a few encroachments that are actually in the village right of way, including, if you look at the building, there were some bump outs coming out off of the first floor. There are a few electrical connections and an vent pipe for the waste system, an intake pipe. So those are in the village, they end up being in the village right away. So they came back to the planning board to apply for a site plan amendment, which was approved by the planning board, which is to allow these to go along because they're separate. They're different from the original site plan. In order to make that happen, the planning board made a requirement of the resolution that this easement be put in place so that these can actually legally be there. And they put this in place. It has a hold harmless and waiver in place, so they will be responsible for any damage that does occur because of these. And it's also based upon a prior easement that was in place for this property regarding the utilities that are on site as well.
And what are they using to prevent people from
They
hitting
had a
their
couple
heads on these
iterations,
things?
but they ended up, after the ARC looked at it as well, there's going to be planters going there underneath the overhangs. If you're familiar with how they hang over about this far, so planters will be there, so that way when you're walking by, you don't crack your head into the side of it. They were going to build it out, but it turned out this was going to look a lot nicer, and they were happy to do it for us.
Okay.
They'll maintain the planters?
Yes, that's part of it, and they're installing irrigation to keep those going too.
And if you know, how,
Good
I mean,
question.
it's a measurement problem, correct? So
Yes.
somewhere, an architect, surveyor, somebody didn't do it correctly.
They measured it, but apparently,
Starting
to
point
put it very
was wrong.
plainly, they used the wrong line.
Yeah, okay.
And so the overhang should have been behind the line. Instead, they used the line as the end point for the main structure, and the overhangs came off of it.
And you said there's a hold harmless in place, indemnification agreements in here?
That's in place inside this, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Did you vote on that one, Drew?
I'll say yes.
Okay. At the recommendation of Renee Lemmerman, refund $500 to Connor Casillo and Bridget Rattinger for a room rental in the sale loft room on 6/24/23 due to the elevator being out of order.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Were they able to hold?
Discussion.
Yeah, were they able to hold the event?
So there's a document in your packet that explains the entire situation, which they, go ahead, Bob.
So we're refunding just $500. We're not, it's
Of
not
a- of a-
$500 to both Connor and Bridget?
No.
Okay.
One $500 refund to a cost that was over 1,000, I believe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the,
Mayor, when you get a second, can we go back to number 7 on the agenda, the easement?
Yes.
I don't know who drafted this agreement. Although your signature is there as the signatory as the mayor, the jurad for the notary still says Margot.
I can correct that.
I just wanna make
have
su-
to- I have to
Okay.
work on it.
I just want to make sure it's correct.
Thank you.
yeah, so according to the email, they paid $1,120.
Mm-hmm. And if you read through their
Yeah, no.
description, it's compelling.
Sure,
Mhm.
absolutely, no.
There were
No
some
objection.
people who needed ADA access and it was not available, and they were very important to the families. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Approve the proposal from PW Grosser for Jumpstart. Now, is this another situation where approve the mayor's, authorize the mayor to,
Execute all agreements in furtherance of PW Grosser for the Jumpstart grant support for culvert sediment removal at a cost of $4,500. That's how those should be worded in the future.
okay,
I'll work with
okay,
current village clerk until a new village clerk is appointed.
okay. Motion,
Second?
discussion?
Does anyone want me to expand on this a little bit?
Yes.
You want to explain a little bit? Yeah.
Sure, explain myself.
Can your microphone hear you?
Sure.
Okay.
So, it came to my attention over a year ago that the village has $500,000 from the county under Jumpstart funds for a project relating to Mill Creek. And so working with Companion Schwarting under the Department of State grant to look at climate resilience with a focus on flooding, I said, okay, well, Mill Creek is a big part of that, so let's see what projects we already have identified, since the grant that we're working under is looking to lay out sort of a timeline, a schedule of projects. We're not going to have this done in time before these grant funds need to be used, so we put our heads together and identified, amongst other paperwork that I found in my research, was in 2019, P.W. Grosser had scoped all of the culvert and storm drains contributing to it in this area, in the downtown area, and found that most pipes and the culvert were anywhere from 25 to, I think, over 50% full of sediment. And so that's greatly decreasing the capacity of stormwater management that we have with existing infrastructure. And so we have been discussing using the $500,000 to remove the sediment from our existing infrastructure, which will automatically increase our stormwater capacity, management capacity, and then that's something that we've identified will need to be done regardless of what other projects will come in the future. So this is helping to essentially take everything I just said and put it into formal granting language, and also P.W. Grosser is going to create a quote for the work to see, is it more or less than $500,000? We're not sure, and help us take that next step so that we can move forward using those funds.
Has this type of work been done in any other municipality before?
I have not looked into that. I'm sure it has, but P.W. Grosser did the scoping, and so they did send the videos out to Companion Schwarting. So we'll be looking to get a quote from at least them and at least one other
Engineering
engineer.
firm?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So once we get this information, then we can have a discussion about going out for quotes. And
With RFP or?
probably RFP, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it could be a huge,
Mm-hmm.
huge job.
Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, passed. Extend claims auditor, approve the extension of contract with Social Butterfly through June 30th, 2024 for social media content and maintenance and website content and maintenance at a fee of $3,000 per month.
And authorize the mayor to execute all documents and further.
Okay. I authorize the mayor to further all documents thereof.
I'll make
Motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Just discussion, about approximately how many hours per month? Do we know?
It is, it's approximate,
Mhm.
20 hours per month.
And there's not sort of a limit on that or
So they do the work as needed.
as needed?
It's on an as-needed basis.
Okay.
And they don't not ever do the work.
Sure, absolutely. Very
Mhm.
good, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Motion carries. Extend claims auditor, this is me too, right? Give the mayor, authorize the mayor to sign off on extending claims auditor David Carlson's contract at a cost of $800 per month through July 10th, 2024, and extend Faith Caglione's contract as an alternate claims auditor, $800 per month through 7/10/24. Motion? Motion? Second?
No second.
All in favor? Discussion?
I know you had actually brought up a good point. Is this $800 per month, and then if
It's-
David Carlson cannot do it, then?
It's a one-time fee a month, yes.
So Faith Caglione is not.
She
also-
covers for David Carlson, and it's all covered under that $800
Very good, thank you.
fee. Is that worded inaccurately? Can we word that a little bit better? Yeah,
You're authorizing, claims auditor contract at $800 per month, period.
Uh-huh.
And authorizing you, David Carlson as the claims auditor and
Faith as the alternate.
as the alternate.
Okay,
Yeah, that sounds like
Mhm.
all right. Does that, Barbara, did you get that? Does that make sense? You can update that? Okay, thank you. Yep, motion, do we, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. Motion to approve amendments to Chapter 250, Section 250-15B of the Village Code to add standards for multifamily development in the moderate-density residence, RM, district as a conditional use, following the public hearing held on May 1st, 2023, and closed on June 6th, 2023. Motion? Second?
If you move something to motion, you must.
Well, it hasn't been a second.
Has to be seconded.
But if you,
Then it compels a vote if there's a second.
but it compels the person who moves to vote in favor.
Okay. We don't have a second. But, so,
How does that?
but can we talk about this for a second? Because it's phrased in such a way that it looks like it's assuming that it's going to be approved. But if it does not get approved, so Dave, I'll ask you this. If it does not get approved, does that remove it as?
It's off the agenda, it's done, it's a code, it's a code amendment that does not get approved.
The code amendment does not get approved.
Alternatively, would one have the option to raise a motion to,
You could table the motion for further discussion.
well, I think the thought is to not, to, essentially, we had a public hearing to, with the view of approving.
We had a public hearing, and you heard the public came out and spoke on it in
Because
favor
there was
of
a
and against, or all in
resolution.
favor, whatever.
So
That-
now, if the board wants to not approve it, is there a way to officially sort of close that out?
You just vote to not approve it. It's a drafted code amendment, and the process would be, assuming that everything was done correctly, properly noticed, public hearing, whatever time passed or allotted for comment or written referendum thereafter has closed, and now it's up to this board to make the determination as to approve or deny it.
So can it be a motion to deny amendments to chapter 250?
Sure, if there's no motion to approve, someone can make the motion to deny.
I make the motion to deny amendments to chapter 250.
There's a second on that, you guys?
All in favor, or discussion?
So just, all right, just for the public, the amendments to chapter 250, section 250-15B, this is regarding the Maryhaven property. And so what the board is discussing currently is denying the approval of the amendments as presented at the public meeting, at the public hearing held May 1st.
So that language is required, or can it just be?
I think she was clarifying for the public. It's
Yes,
just a
yes.
motion.
Yeah.
Yes, just
Assuming
helpful.
everything was done procedurally correct and it's up for a vote for either approval or denial, it's a motion on the table to deny it. And if it's denied, it won't make it into our code book, whatever conditions were discussed, and granted, I'm new here, so whatever conditions were discussed to be added to the code for this zoning district won't be added to the code. Where that leaves any project on the Maryhaven property, I don't know, because I
Right.
wasn't involved.
Sure.
But procedurally, properly, it should be on the agenda, it should be a motion.
Motion to,
It shouldn't be, again, I agree, whoever said it, I don't recall who said it, but the motion to approve is kind of pushing the board in a direction. It's a motion on the code amendment.
our building department?
I was a little bit involved, as maybe I could help out.
Sure.
It was a public hearing to make a change to the village code, and motion was made actually to.
Can you
eventually-
speak into one of the
sorry,
microphones,
sorry.
please?
Thanks.
Thank you, Rich.
The motion was made in order to approve that change. The motion failed. So therefore, that is the equivalent of a denial. In my practice, it's always better to have a trying to make an actual action and not going forward than doing the negative, which just gets confusing. So I think you're done.
So the way it's worded, what you're saying is the way it's worded is okay.
Correct? And that motion
vote,
failed.
And then
The motion to approve failed.
Yes.
therefore
Right.
it will not be amended. The
Correct.
code
The
will not be
problem I
amended.
had, with all due respect, Rich, is he made a motion to approve with no second, therefore there's no motion.
Right.
And then there was a motion to deny, so,
if it's on the agenda already, isn't it, it's not, we're not voting to put it on the agenda?
no,
here.
no.
Okay,
So-
should we start again?
That being said,
Mm-hmm.
just in deference to this, because I wasn't involved, if there's a motion to approve and seconded, the person moving, not necessarily the person second, can vote however they want. So if you're not in support of a motion to approve, don't second it. And then someone else can make a motion to deny. I just think that's cleaner
Okay.
than putting someone in a position to bring up a motion,
Gotcha.
second a motion, because why would you bring up a motion to approve
As
if you're
if
not
they're
going to
voting
vote
for
for it?
it.
It's just-
Okay.
To me, it's a lot cleaner, and if someone challenges those determinations or that public hearing or this enactment, I'd rather an affirmative action of the board than no action,
Okay.
or saying, or having any of the Board of Trustees have to testify later on is, well, why did you second it, or why did you bring it up if you weren't going to vote for it?
So 13
I would.
and 13 becomes or is replaced with the motion to deny, or?
I think we just amend.
No, sorry, 12,
Mayor, for the clarification on the record,
yes.
hearing no motion on number 12, is there any other motion of the board?
Okay,
And you've already made the motion.
okay.
So now I believe what's on and seconded is a motion
To
to
deny.
deny the implementation of the zoning change for the R-M district.
Discussion? All
Just,
in fa-
it's come forward, there's many community groups who are interested in exploring the feasibility of utilizing this property for any number of, I'm not going to list them all necessarily, but any number of community purposes. So I can speak for myself as a Board of Trustee member. Exploring the feasibility of those possibilities before taking a next step with any code changes is important to me.
Okay, thank you. And I'll
I would
also,
agree, and
oh,
just one question.
Sure.
For the attorney. If in the future, how long can a motion be tabled for?
You could table a motion as long as you want.
I'm just wondering if we're better off just tabling it until everything's done,
The-
because then we have to
the-
start
the
the process all
problem-
over
the
again
problem
if we want to go
become-
through with something like that, right?
Understood. The problem becomes if you had a public meeting and you closed it, and new people want to come out and speak about it, it might be easier just to start from scratch.
Okay. Okay.
Procedurally.
Okay.
and I'll just add to Rebecca, what you said is the feedback that we got from the community about this issue was robust
Yeah.
and emphatic. The interest in preserving the building remains, but not at the, to the extent that it would sacrifice the quality of life based on a density of which was being proposed for that project, that we understood was being proposed for that project. So in listening to what our residents have been telling us, I think that's where we're headed with this vote. All in favor of denying?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. 13, we jumped ahead with that one. Number 14, accept the retirement of our beloved village clerk, Barbara Sakovich, effective July 19th, 2023. Motion? Do we need a motion to that? Okay,
I'll make the motion.
second,
Second motion.
discussion?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you want to comment first, Drew?
Barbara, thank you for your service and your time here at the village as a citizen. Nothing but polite and professional. Thank you.
I-
Second that, and I would add that if we put on there with regret, if we add on to the motion, accept the retirement of Barbara Sakovich, effective July 19th, 2023, with regret.
I would just like to say, I think every resident, whether they know it or not, you have touched their lives and made their lives here in the village so much better in every way. You were always the woman behind the curtain, making everything happen. And as a trustee, working with you, it's been a pleasure. But to see you out and about, during the Dickens Festival, spending all day and well into the night on election night, you have gone well above and beyond and improved my lives and the lives of everyone here. So I really just want to applaud you for that.
It's my pleasure, thank you.
Thank you,
Here, here.
Barbara.
Barbara?
I do not want to accept your resignation. However, if it is your wish,
It was my wish since I was nominated.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
nay,
Abstain,
nay.
Motion passes. Approve the warrants as presented by Treasurer Mordente and approved by Claims Auditor Carlson. Motion,
I'll
Second.
second.
and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, and that concludes the consent agenda. I would like to ask if we could go into executive session after these board reports. If we could have some abbreviated board reports, or if we can jump board reports into the public session, so we can go into executive session quickly?
You have an advertised presentation at 6,
Yes.
so we have 8 minutes. So you're the mayor.
Then we'll go into executive session after the public session. Okay? So for board reports, I had a very wonderful meeting with Stony Brook University recently, 2 representatives from the Student Affairs Office. So we're working hard on growing the partnership with the university in terms of creating a community service day opportunities for the students on campus on August 26th. I'll put together a document that describes that. So we're looking for opportunities in the village that students can participate in a formal way during the university's Community Service Day on August 26th. And then also working with the university on developing internships in our different departments, including such areas as social work, communications, economic development, business, political science, and civil engineering. So it's very promising, and we're in the early stages of working through that. As mentioned, we're looking at creating an ethics code and some training for our village, and we'll put together a formal presentation for that and a resolution. Going forward, created the Budget Finance Committee resolution today and voted on that. And then we're looking at establishing a LIPA power plant working group to help move through the what's going on at the power plant right now to see if we can repower that plant, help have some influence or aspect of engaging with National Grid and LIPA to move that forward. And then we also received official notification that came to Mayor Margot Grant on June 21st, indicating that the Village of Port Jefferson was awarded a Restore New York 7 grant for project 135-591. I believe that's Conifer 2. I look to Rich Harris, and he nods his head. and that's for $2 million, and that's, the project summary is, the village plans to demolish 2 vacant buildings and construct a mixed-use development in Port Jefferson near the Long Island Railroad Station. The project would include 53 affordable residential units and about 2,500 square feet of commercial space. To trigger grant disbursement, the awardee must show documentation of total project costs for infrastructure, site work, demolition, construction, and a certificate of occupancy and/or other documentation verifying project completion as the ESD may require. So that's it in a nutshell, but that's good news and helpful to that project and its development.
That's great. Is there a deadline for use of those funds?
I'll look to Rich Harris to answer that question. Do you know, Mr. Harris, if there is a deadline for that?
I would defer to Barbara on this. She's been administering getting this grant.
I believe it's 2 years.
2 years, from June 21st, the day of the award or letter?
It's currently scheduled, or being scheduled for a public hearing, which will be one of the last steps. Secret lead agency was already announced, so all goes well, we should be well under that deadline.
Okay. Okay, next up, Trustee Laux.
Not necessarily a board report. I want to read something into the record, please. I became the country club liaison in July of 2015, and I want to give everyone on the board a brief overview of the financial status of the country club. During the fiscal years from 2016 to 2017, our fund balance was a negative $138,000. During the fiscal year 2017 to 2018, the fund balance grew to a negative of $263,000. During the fiscal year 2018 and 2019, the fund balance had grown to a negative $370,000. During the fiscal year 2019 to 2020, we made some staff changes, and the fund balance grew to $491,000. During the fiscal year 2020-2021, there were further staff changes, and we brought in a new software system. That year, after the internal audit, the country club made a profit of $837,000. We were able to pay the village back $491,000 that we owed them. We were able to place $345,000 in a country club fund balance for the first time in 5 years. The following year, the club showed a profit of $460,000, bringing our fund balance to $805,000. For the 2020-2023 fiscal year, the Treasurer's Office has estimated that our fund balance will increase to $1,072,707. I feel that this information is important as it relates to the appointment of the country club liaison. I have worked tirelessly with new staffing and with Todd Garland, who brought in the new software system. The staff morale at the golf course and the golf course conditions and the membership has never been stronger. We are now in a position to build and begin some long-needed improvements to the golf course, such as cart paths, bunker renovations. We are also preparing for the return of our racket facility, which we lost 3 years ago. We are preparing for that right now. We're exploring the capture of water that is so dearly needed for our grounds up at the country club. I feel very strongly that I've had an impact on the resurgence of the country club. Earlier this week, I had a meeting with the mayor. The day after the meeting, she sent me an email stating that my liaisonship to the country club would be held over. Today, I'm being told that there will be no liaison to the country club. I do not think that I can work any further with this board. I have put in too many years 40 some odd years to be exact, up at that country club, working my tail off. I love the country club. I love the village. I appreciate the people who voted me into this position. But I feel that I have been double-crossed. That's my report.
Thank you, Stan. Anyone else reports? We're at the 6 o'clock hour right now, so we'll adjourn to public meeting.
I just have one thing I just wanted to give over to the attorney to look at. It's a- If I can find it. It's a proposed code change so that here it is. This is the code as it is for the building department. I would like to have that statement added to it, which would prevent a developer from, if they get tax exemptions or property tax exemptions, that it doesn't go to zero. It starts at whatever they're paying now. And then you could look at it and take a look and see what we have to do that, all right? And everything else I have for the public, so.
Okay. Thank you. We'll move to the board situation. Good evening, everyone. We're ready to call to order, and calling to order at 6:11 p.m., but we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If we could all stand. You changed it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the organizational meeting of the Incorporated Village of Port Jefferson. I would like to first start by asking the village clerk to do the roll call.
Mayor Shepro?
Present.
Trustee Louds? Trustee Day?
Present.
Trustee Giuliano?
Present.
Trustee Biondo?
Present.
Quorum of the board being present, Mayor, you could begin the meeting.
Thank you. This is, again, the reorganizational meeting of the Village of Port Jefferson. I would like the board to work with me on approving or we'll make a motion and approve the following appointments.
Did it though, or?
Hmm?
Did we already do it?
For the record, Deputy Mayor, Trustee Cassay. Commissioner of Finance, Mayor Shepro. Commissioner of Public Works, Trustee Giuliano. Commissioner of Environmental Sustainability, Trustee Cassay. Commissioner of Parks, Trustee Giuliano. Commissioner of Public Safety, Court and Code, Mayor Shepro. Commissioner of Buildings, Trustee Biondo. Commissioner of Communications, Trustee Biondo. Commissioner of Recreation, Trustee Laux. Port Jefferson Harbor Commissioner Harry Faulkner. Motion to approve. Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, having these matters already be addressed at the business meeting, I think it's prudent at this time to move to the agenda item starting at 6 o'clock.
Fantastic. Okay, we'd like to call up the public safety officers, Suffolk County Police and Code Enforcement for their monthly report. Suffolk County Police not being present, we'll start with Chief of Code, Andy Owen, and Chief of Patrol, James Murdaco.
Good evening, everybody. I am Chief Owen, no S, as the website said for a while. Okay. Basically, what I'm going to do now is, this is day one. We have a new mayor, we have a new chief, and we're going to start fresh. Okay, I'm going to give you guys an overview of what code is about. A lot of people aren't familiar what we're about, and I'm going to hopefully answer some of those questions tonight. I'll give you an overview of that, and we'll start with that, and then we'll proceed down the line. Code consists of 34 members as of right now. One chief, one deputy chief, a chief of patrol, 2 captains, a lieutenant investigator, 3 lieutenants, 6 sergeants, 3 investigators, 6 constables, 2 corporals, and 8 ATOs. That's our department. We have 9 vehicles, 6 of which are marked, 3 are unmarked. Out of those marked vehicles, we have one you'll notice named, it's labeled PJ3. And on the roof of the car, you'll see 2 black plate readers. They are automatic license plate readers. Every license plate it drives by, it takes a picture of, and it scans it, and it gives us information on that plate. It only gives us information on the plate and whether it has a valid parking permit for the port, a village resident parking permit, or if it paid the meter that it was supposed to pay. It does not save any information. There's been scuttlebutt on the internet that we're saving and storing private information, which we're not. So all it's used for is to scan the plate to see if we have, if they paid their license, paid their parking permit, or if they're parked in a resident lot and they are in fact a resident. The operator of PJ3, if they do find someone in violation, will then either write a summons or a warning. It's been a month since I've been in office, and we've had many accomplishments so far. You want to talk about jumping in feet first into the fire? We've had the moving up ceremony. We've had the graduation. We've had the prom. We've had the fireworks, and we've had a parade, all of which went off without any incident whatsoever. And it's not only my department, Department of Works, Department of Public Works, Department of Parks, the village itself, and the residents. Everybody came together, and everything went smoothly. As far as new ideas for code, I have several new ideas that we're going to put into place after this weekend's Port Pause event. We're going to start off with foot patrols in downtown. A lot of the business owners and even residents have said, hey, I don't see people walking around. I don't see anybody on foot. To start off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm hoping to put at least 2 officers on foot, Main Street, Arden, East Main, the downtown area. Also, we're going to try to get a bike patrol out there. I have 2 officers that are interested in doing that. And it'll be able to get us in and out of crowds and to incidents quicker if and when they do arise. And also, we have, the new thing we have this year is scanners at the beaches. Beaches, as we know, are for public, for residents only. We don't have the stickers on the rearview mirrors anymore, so we have to scan the license plates. So the young ladies and gentlemen at the beaches, as a car comes into the beach, they scan the license plate. If they have a village resident permit, they're allowed to park. If not, they're asked to leave. And we've had pretty much 100% compliance with that. We haven't had an issue whatsoever, so that's a good thing. Several upcoming events that Code is going to be involved in. I have a meeting to attend on the 13th with the Chamber of Commerce, meet some of the business owners. Anyone that's there or that's not there, that I don't have an opportunity to meet, I'll go up and down Main Street and all the businesses in the village. Hopefully, I'll be able to meet everybody at some point in time. After that, we have Port Pause, July 15th and 16th in Erland Field. And then after that, we have Port Palooza, July 29th in Harborfront Park. Code will be represented or will be present at all those events. One thing I want to start doing is giving you folks a recap of what we're doing. I don't know if it's ever been done before. Just to let you know that we're out there. A lot of times they say, oh, what does Code do? They don't do anything. They're not doing anything. Well, we are doing something. We have what's called a CC report, which is basically an incident report. Anytime there's an incident, we put it on file, and we have it in our office. For the month of June, we wrote a total of 60 incident reports, consisting of 8 cases, noise complaints, traffic conditions, disturbances, and suspicious individuals. And these are all mainly in the downtown area. While we do patrol the outer reaches of the village and do answer jobs out there, it's mainly the downtown area where we're getting these jobs from. And also, I want to give you guys a summons recap for the month of June. For the month of June, we wrote a total of 206 summonses. The majority of those summonses were for uninspected vehicles. Also, missing license plates, period. Parking without a permit in the resident lots, and also overtime meter parking. Overtime meter parking, we give a leeway. We don't wait for 1 minute afterwards and start banging people over the head. But help us help you. Look at your vehicle. Is it uninspected? If it's uninspected, get an inspection. Is it not registered? Make sure you get it registered. This way we don't have to be writing these summonses. And if your license plates are missing, definitely get that taken care of as well. Right now, I'm going to invite Chief Patrol Jimmy Murdocco up, and he's going to go over the FAT recap.
Thank you, Mayor and the board. Good evening, everybody. I just want to review and I think it's a healthy thing to do, to go over what the department is doing with, in relation to incidents that happen, the train station, downtown area, a lot after 9 o'clock at night. I have started a pattern of statistics to run And currently, since January, we're over 200 incidents. For tomorrow's court date, we have 47 cases on the docket. 32 are quality of life issues. Those are your open alcohol, public intox, disorderly conducts, littering, et cetera, et cetera. The majority are disorderly conducts. We are focused in the Highland Wooded area. We've had some individuals go in there. The train station, making sure people get off the train correctly and get to their cars safely. Responding to calls of disorderlies within the business area, and also talking with the merchants. The numbers have increased in the last couple of months, and we are issuing field appearance tickets so they have to attend court. We've had a successful run so far, and I would like to thank the mayor and the board and Andy, Chief Owen, for the support. And I will keep you posted on the statistics. My plan is to do a continuously run of the statistics for a 12-month period.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. On the heels of that, there's 2 speeding surveys that we're conducting. One is at Sheep Pasture Road and Midland Avenue. I had received an email from a woman that was concerned about speeding along Sheep Pasture Road. So we're going to be putting up the speed sign there that basically tells you how fast you're going, and hopefully we can curtail that. There's also a survey on Brook Road from Old Post down to Caroline. As we all know, the football field is up there, and parking up there sometimes can get atrocious. There's also speeding up and down that hill. So we're going to do a survey of that area and see what we can to make it safer for everybody in the village. And last but not least, we're going to start up a Facebook page, the Code Bureau is. This is going to be an informative page. It's not going to be a page where anybody can post or comment. It's going to be, hey, stay away from Arden in Maine. There's an accident. Or we have this event coming up. We have that event coming up. I know in my neighborhood, people are after catalytic converters, so there'll be safety messages up there, what you can do to protect yourselves, keep your cars locked, and things like that. But the one thing that I want to stress is Facebook is not a vehicle to make complaints against anybody. If you have a complaint and it concerns the Bureau, the Code Bureau, please reach out to me. My email is easy enough, aowen@portjeff.com. Send me an email and I will return it. I will get a hold of you. If there's a concern that you have, don't go on a Facebook page and gripe about it, because guess what? That's where it's going to stay. There's plenty of Facebook pages out there that people are complaining about this, that, or the other thing. Guess what? It doesn't go anywhere and nobody cares. So if you really care about the village and there's something that you want taken care of, please definitely reach out to me, reach out to somebody in code. There's the phone numbers on the side of all the code vehicles. Give us a call, leave a message, or talk to the supervisor that answers, and we'll get it taken care of. Once again, it's aowen@portjeff.com. Thoughts, questions, concerns, please. Sir.
If you have questions, could you come up to the podium and identify yourself and your address, please?
Bob Coburn, Roosevelt. You just said something keep on that I've brought up many times. Am I on?
That's who?
We don't want to go too close. Or street, I need an address or a street name. Thank you.
I'm on the voice. Bob Coburn, 109 Roosevelt Avenue. Thanks, Chief. For many years, I've asked to add the area code on the cars. Some of them have area codes, many do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thoughts, questions, concerns, opinions? Nothing? Okay. Thank you for your time, Mayor.
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Is there anyone standing in the room that would benefit from a chair exchange? Mr. Calabrese? Okay, okay. Thank you. Just before we start, that makes Trustee Cassay feel so much better.
Sorry, I saw one of our veterans in the back standing. We're just happy if he wants to be seating. Thank you for that.
So before we start, just a little bit of a shift in the agenda tonight, just being kind of responsive to what we've been hearing over the past year or so from residents who attend these meetings, that they're hoping to have public comment first, and then before we go into the board reports. So we're shifting that. We're piloting it. We're not committing to anything just yet. But also, I just want to say, I'm very nervous, obviously. And this is the first time I've ever done this, and it's been done by an expert for the past 14 years, someone who has been doing it and does it like with her hands tied behind her back and her eyes closed. So that's not me right now. My hands are shaking and my eyes are wide open. So I just wanted to acknowledge new board member, Trustee Bob Giuliano. Congratulations for winning your race. Our new board appointment, Drew Biondo, who took the seat of that was vacated when I became mayor. Welcome, Drew Biondo, new trustee. Thank you. And trusted and true Rebecca Cassay, who has also been appointed to the deputy mayor's seat. Congratulations, and I look forward to working with you and with the entire board and Trustee Laux when he comes back.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I would like to open it up for public comment. Is there anyone? What we're going to do tonight is, because we're being live streamed, rather than have your back to the camera and the audience, we'd like anyone who would like to speak to come up to the podium up front to address the board, if that's all right. So, anyone? Public comment? Myrna? Gordon? Thank you. Is it on?
Yep, that little button right there, Brandon. Yep. Under the white.
So it turns green.
You got it.
Thank you. Hi. First of all, I want to congratulate all of the new people sitting up on the board. Bob, congratulations to you. Drew, I don't know you, but congratulations. Rebecca, it's good to see you again. I'm sorry that Stan is not here, who I've worked with for a very, very long time. Lauren, thank you so much for being responsive. I'm actually overwhelmed by your first point of business to allow the residents to speak first. Michael and I have stood before this body for years requesting that we speak first rather than to go through all of the different important organizational factors that go on in a village. So I thank you, and I do understand that this is a trial run, and I hope it works and that we all have our say. Those that want to stay and hear the rest can also do that, as it's also important stuff. The reason I'm here tonight is because I am in the community of the Roosevelt Avenue playground, play area. It's one of the last public spaces and green spaces in our community. And I've lived there for about 53 years. I'm on Rustic Road, and for the past year, we have heard that that particular parcel of green space will be developed. We've also been told at former meetings that the community of the President Streets and Rustic and so on in Wilson would have an opportunity to participate in any types of meetings if indeed there are any plans that are going to be made to create any type of a park or a passive space. The reason I'm here is because we are very concerned in our neighborhood. We live off of Roosevelt Avenue, which is a very, very quiet, narrow residential street. That park at the end of Roosevelt Avenue has not been used for about 45 years. I know that Stan Laux mentioned at one point recently that a parent or two had requested that there be a soccer net just put there, and I believe that was done. We are concerned that there will be full development of some type of a park that would be not conducive to this really quiet residential area. And I'm hoping that the people here can support us. When the 6-acre park was being developed, there was a fabulous committee, and many of those committee members were residents of the Highland. And they had their say strongly as to how that 6-acre park was going to be developed with a very good liaison, Rebecca Cassay. and that will be considered a passive park. That park had plans to do many, many things. People came forward. They wanted a pump park there. I don't know if you know what a pump park is, okay? But it's where vehicles, bicycles travel over moguls. And I am truly concerned that if the pump park people come, that could happen to Roosevelt Avenue Park. So I'm asking you, as a resident of that area, to please include the residents of that area for any type of plans that you have made. I know that Stan mentioned that a group of people from the village did go through all of the green spaces. So please consider what I'm saying about how those parks are designated. If it's developed, that means that trees will be cut down, and we ought not to do that anymore. Thank you.
Okay, just a quick note. The committee, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council, took a tour of all the parks in the village, not the green spaces. So just to correct that.
Okay.
But there is a meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council on July 26th that the residents of your community have been invited to and offered to attend. I've spoken to several people in the area. And
How many of that area has been invited? Raise your hand. I have not.
If,
I was not
if you
invited.
live in that area, raise your hand. You're invited. Okay? So we want to hear from you. And there is nothing in
That's not definite then, they haven't made any
no,
definite plans?
absolutely not.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sean Henderson, 115 Roosevelt Avenue, Port Jefferson. So they have no definite plans, right?
Sean, you might have to come up to the podium.
Can you?
No plans whatsoever. None.
We have to go to the 27th?
You can send a representative, or every single person from the community can attend. But
That's where we go.
they'd like to hear from you. I mean, that's the interim committee that makes recommendations and advises the Board of Trustees.
If everybody goes against it, there's a good chance we can get it knocked out. That's great.
Can you give me that date? No, Sean, I don't.
What's your name, Mr.
It's July
Henderson?
26th. It's Wednesday, July
What's your name?
26th at 6 o'clock at the Village Center.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Myrna. Yes. Sure, come on up.
My name is Drew Sora. I'm 15 years old and I live at 2 Stern Drive. First off, congratulations, Mayor Shepro, and congratulations, Trustee Biondo. I don't know you. I'm sure I will get to know you over the course of this, and congratulations, Trustee Giuliano, on your election. It's really amazing. I'm a little nervous, obviously. You know, this is my first time being up here. Ooh. I'm here as a concerned citizen, and I believe in the power of our community to foster inclusivity and embrace everyone, regardless of their backgrounds, beliefs, or sexual orientation. I address you today not as a representative of any political affiliation or to discuss matters of partisan politics, but to shed light on an issue that has deeply troubled me over the past few days. Recently, I became aware of a group within our community that calls themselves the Setauket Patriots. Their online posts filled with hate and discrimination towards the LGBTQ+ community has deeply troubled me. It's disheartening to witness such intolerance within a group who has aligned themselves with our village recently. I recently noticed a post specific to you being elected as our new mayor, which reads, "Now that we got our good mayor candidate elected, we need to go take back Port Jeff. Let's show them our patriot colors and show up for the 4th of July parade." And as many of us know, the Setauket Patriots had a car in the parade, which was a Trump car. Now, this isn't a political thing, but it was the Setauket Patriots. My concern regarding these posts is deeply personal. My mother recently married a woman, a wedding which my family and friends all celebrated. However, these posts from the Setauket Patriots have cast a shadow of worry and fear. How can we feel safe in our own home and in our own town when such blatant displays of hate are being made? Let me be clear, though, this issue transcends any political affiliation or personal opinions. It is about hate speech and its dangerous implications. Numerous studies have shown that when hate speech goes unchallenged and is allowed to flourish, it creates an environment that fosters hostility and can lead to an increase in hate crimes targeting marginalized communities. Mayor Shepro, I know that it's your intention to create an inclusive and welcoming community for everyone in Port Jeff. However, in light of these recent events, I implore you to take a strong stance against the Setauket Patriots' homophobic behavior. There are multiple posts on their Facebook page detailing their hatred and severe discrimination towards the LGBTQ+ community. It's crucial that our leadership publicly denounces hate speech, making it unequivocally clear that such actions have no place within our town. We owe it to ourselves, our neighbors, and our future generations to foster an inclusive community that stands united against discrimination and bigotry. Mayor Shepro, I respectfully request that you outline concrete steps to address this issue. Denouncing the Setauket Patriots' actions is a critical first step, but we must go beyond mere words. By actively promoting tolerance and acceptance, we can create an environment where diversity is celebrated and hate has no place to thrive in this village. Let us remember that by standing up against hate speech, we are not only protecting the rights and safety of our LGBTQ+ community in this village, but also are preserving the values that make our town so exceptional. Our actions today will shape the future of our community. It's our duty to ensure that our legacy is one of inclusivity, acceptance, and love, not hate. Let us set an example for other communities by rejecting hate speech in all its forms, which is why I ask you today, will you join me in denouncing the hate speech as a whole and the hate speech of the Setauket Patriots? But will you also commit to looking into the necessary steps to ensure the safety, well-being, and acceptance of all our members of our community?
That's the end?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you for your comments. You've given me a lot to think about, and I will take it under consideration.
Will you get back to me at some point?
I will certainly get back to the community. You're representing the community or
Yes,
yourself?
I'm representing the community, Mayor
Okay.
Shepro.
You are. Okay.
Thank you so much.
I'll just say one thing is I share your beliefs in embracing inclusivity, diversity, and those are very important standards, in my opinion. So, but in terms of responding directly to you now, this is a public comment session, so it's not a back and forth, and I will definitely get back to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Other public comments? Sir?
Stephen Metzler, 128 Roosevelt Avenue. Congratulations, Mayor. When I saw your placards that said residents first, I was extremely pleased. Been in the neighborhood for about 28 years, and I see a lot of things going on, improvements and whatnot, but I always felt that the residents, at least some residents in our area, are being left out. I live at the end of Roosevelt, right adjacent to the woods, green space. Some people call it a park. I understand at one point there was a plot of land in there that was designated a park by the builder. If we go to this parks meeting, and we will, quite a number of us, I'm skeptical about whether it'll do any good. And the reason I say that is a couple of years ago, parks people came into the woods and were cutting down trees, pulling stumps, and created a figure-8 path through the woods. Now, living there for 28 years, we have deer, turkey, endangered species, box tortoises, red fox, red-tailed hawks, and owls come through. So I'm very concerned that if we express our wishes or our concerns to the Parks Department, that it may not do any good. We had, at one point, a girls lacrosse team practicing down there. That's great, except I couldn't park in front of my house. I couldn't get in my driveway. The parents were parked all over that dead end, blocking Rustic Road and the end of Roosevelt Avenue. So parking is an issue down there. There's not much room for parking, and if anything opens up down there, I can't park. I know the Rouse family, they're not going to be able to park. A lot of us won't be able to park in our own homes. So that's all I had to say.
Okay.
Again, thank you and congratulations.
You're welcome. Thank you. I just want to clarify, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council is made up of residents. Some of them live in that area.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
In the back first, and then next.
Mark Robinson, 27 Thorn Lane. I've been down here a number of times. The Don't Block the Box at the end of Thorn Lane on North Country Road, the sign is never, I shouldn't say never, it's hardly ever obeyed. You can put a speed trap up on Sheep Pasture Road and shine it down on the inside lane because they come flying down to make the light, and the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit is usually ignored. I've asked for the police to start giving tickets. I gave pictures of people going through it to 2 police officers. It got absolutely nowhere. And now with that apartment building going up on the corner, with the exit on Thorn Lane and the entrance on Thorn Lane, it's going to get exponentially worse. That's the first thing. On the other corner from the apartment on North Country Road is this White House with this huge privet fence. Now, when I come down the road, now I've been living there 49 years. When I come down Thorn Lane, I actually have to get into that lane that they come speeding down to make the light. Something's got to be done about the hedge. And I know they just passed a change in the code, and 100 feet from North Country Road, north on Thorn Lane, you're not supposed to park. Well, they got workers parking on one side, and somebody else parks on the other side, so it's getting a little congested. It's not a huge street. There's only 9 houses on the street. And I was very happy to see that they're going to repave Stony Hill Road. That was a horror story. Congratulations on your elections.
Thank you. Did they cut back the hedges on Thorn and North Country? I thought they did.
Well, your thinking is incorrect, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. I stand corrected on my thinking.
Mayor, is that something we could ask in the past, we've put in requests from the mayor's office or the Board of Trustees to Suffolk County Police Department to station officers nearby the intersection for speeding and/or the blocking the box. Is that something that our administration can?
We can certainly approach the police department for that.
Wally had a great idea. Stop them and put them in the Lobster House parking lot. But the Lobster House parking lot is gone. That's
Thank
all
you.
I have.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Say hello to your dad.
I will, thank you. Anyone else? Public comment?
I'm short, can't help it. I'll go on my tiptoes. My name is Deborah Sarley. I live at 101 Wilson Drive in Port Jefferson. Congratulations to you, Mayor Shepro. I did attend the campaign speeches that night, and I want to say that my total opinion of you changed for the positive, and I believe that you're going to do beautiful things for the village of Port Jefferson to keep it a village and not turn it into a city. That's the first thing I want to say, and congratulations to all of you as well. And you got that LIPA experience, so I hope that's going to pay off for us in the end as well. Man, what the heck. I found out about this park, maybe conversion into soccer field, from one of my neighbors last night at around 9:30, and it really upset me terribly. I actually, after attending my weight training class this morning, went down there and took video and photos of that area. And the gentleman that mentioned the deforestation, I used to go down there with my nieces and nephews when they were little, and I said to myself, a lot of trees are gone here. So they're definitely taking trees down. Thinking about this whole soccer field thing, I thought about cost, lighting, maintenance of the field, fertilizer, deforestation, noise pollution, vehicle pollution, incoming traffic, constant congestion, when, in my opinion, and the soccer nets are up there because I have that in my video, that there is a giant soccer field at the end of Caroline Avenue or whatever the heck that is, which can easily be used by anybody in the community. There's also a beautiful one at Heritage Park. And I just want to say that I think the residents who live in a 3-block, that's Roosevelt, Rustic, and Wilson Drive, should keep that area maintained. And I remember during the campaign speeches that everything will be possibly done to preserve and protect the open spaces. And I think, as we're all aware of, there's not a lot of that left in this village. And I think that should be preserved, and I definitely will attend the meeting on the 26th. But I do have one question. How will the residents, because I knew nothing about it until my neighbor called me last night, how will the residents who do not know about that meeting be informed? Now, not everybody in that neighborhood also has internet access. So how will the residents, whenever you can let us know, how will the residents know about it? Because I mentioned it to a couple of my neighbors tonight. They knew nothing about this proposition being done.
Okay, just to quickly answer, because there is no proposition for the park.
Okay.
It was so the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council meets monthly on the last Wednesday of the month at 6 o'clock at the Village Center. This subject was added to the agenda during while I was up in the area. I was on Roosevelt, and I was talking to some of the residents up there. And they said, what's happening with the park down the road? And I said, nothing that I know of, but we have an advisory council that can take concerns and sort of make recommendations to the Board of Trustees based on what they're hearing in the community. They're there as appointed members to really represent the community. So this is an informal, it's not a public hearing. It's not subject to open meetings law. It is subject to open meetings law, but it's an off sort of that's not the only topic that's going to be on the agenda for that meeting. So that you are there, it will be on the agenda. I've spoken with the chairperson. Trustee Giuliano is the Trustee Laux. Trustee Giuliano is the Parks liaison, Department of Parks liaison, so hopefully he will be there. I'll probably be there myself because I'm transitioning off of that liaisonship, that commissionership. So nothing's in stone, but I think it would be helpful for that council to hear the thoughts and feedback from that community.
Okay, so the only way people would find out about that is we have to spread the word amongst the community ourselves, those 3 block periods? Is that what I'm understanding?
So
Because I don't want, I'll put out a letter. I'm not sure
Everyone's
about
welcome. I mean, I can talk to the chair and Trustee Giuliano about if there's a need to communicate the opportunity to be heard at that meeting. But if you wanted to send representation, 3 or 4 people, because there are other agendas items on that meeting, that could help represent your feedback and feelings. And this is a very open group that is certainly interested in hearing what the residents, they are residents, and they're interested in hearing what the fellow residents think. And as I said, I think 2 of the members of that council are residents of that section of the president's area.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Thank you. Mr. Coburn?
Again, Bob Coburn, 109 Roosevelt. Thank you very much. Congratulations, everybody. Buona fortuna. I'm on 109 Roosevelt. Karen and I, my children, are there since 1987. I walk that street, the whole 3 streets, just about every night. I like to counter there are lots of activity on that little lovely park. People walk their dogs, and children go down there and play ball. SEC, safety. I've done little car counts in the last couple of days. If you send a patrol car there, you will see there's a car going down Roosevelt probably within at least every 15 minutes. Most of them go right through the stop sign at Wilson and Roosevelt. Almost had an accident not long ago. I can tell two people who can best testify to that. On our street, I can guarantee you will see there are at least a dozen young children playing in the street, bicycles, playing ball. And we also have a deaf child, deaf young girl. There's a sign. There are 2 signs. We have a deaf child in that area. So that's safety. Environment, I also support that. It's a quaint little park. Let's leave it alone. Options. We have many fields in this town where we could supply other soccer. Opposite the elementary school, I talked to someone today, many open yards of field. The bottom of the high school, bottom of Brook Road, is the high school baseball field. It is totally encompassed with a fence, but on the west side, there is a beautiful field about the size of our Roosevelt field. Today I got a Facebook notice. The Port Jefferson School District is running an entire summer camp program for sports. Safety, environment, options. I hope our village, I know you'll pay attention and you'll do what's best for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, Michael. Michael Mart, then Barbara, did you have your hand up? Okay.
Michael Mart, 205 Bayview Terrace. Residents first. I don't believe it, but it's wonderful. Thank you. We've been asking for this. It's our time as residents to address you as an entire body. I can talk to you individually, but to have this opportunity, I'm sure it's going to be well used. And then people can go home if they'd like, because they have busy schedules as you do. But the opportunity to talk to you is a vast improvement of the way the village has been functioning. And I want to thank the new trustees for their service and their willingness to serve. I have one issue that I would just like to bring up again to this board, and it has to do with transient housing in our village. Transient housing in our village is often referred to as Airbnbs, but it's not just that. And it has a very destabilizing effect on the neighborhoods in which it's in. We don't know who's there. We don't know who's in charge. The homeowners are not paying any taxes. The houses are not necessarily being inspected and improved. It's a business which is not a business. And I know that a previous board has looked at it. I read a draft of a proposal, which was very good, but it wasn't acted on. And one of the ways in which you can stop this from growing from neighborhood to neighborhood, house to house, is to limit the time of rental for your house for 30 days minimum. That would severely reduce the possibility of transient rentals. The town of Brookhaven is involved right now in the same issue, and it's very widespread there. So thank you for letting me bring it to your attention again, and I hope that other members of the community will pay attention to what's happening in their neighborhoods. If you see something, say something, and that you will listen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Barbara Ransom, 409 East Broadway. Yeah, all right. So congratulations to the board, and good luck to you all. I know you're probably going to have a lot on your agenda, but hopefully the issue about Maryhaven is going not to be on the back burner, and hopefully we're going to be able to have maybe yet another public hearing to hear more about it. And I'm hoping that there's no quick decisions about changing codes for potential developers. I think we heard at the last public hearing a lot of concern about the infrastructure, about losing a wonderful area that people feel like it's just going to be too crowded with that type of density. So I'm just reminding this board that that should be a priority for you to tackle. Thanks.
Trustee Cassay, would you like to respond?
So during the business portion of this meeting, the board passed a motion to close out and disallow the code changes that were proposed for Section 250. So, and there was comment from each of the board members and the mayor commenting that based on the public hearing that was had, public did come out, made their voices heard, and in the interim time, we've received many emails with the request to look into the feasibility of the different uses of that land. And I can speak for myself as a trustee that the looking into the feasibility is absolutely worthwhile for Port Jeff Fire Department, EMS, other groups. So I know the Civic Association is very actively looking into this, and I expressed to them in an email that it would be great to see a round table, between either the entire Board of Trustees or a liaison of sorts, and all of these different groups who are interested to really start gathering the facts and looking into the actual feasibility of what folks have concepts for.
Thank you.
Last chance for public comment. Oh, well, I saw Arthur Epps first, and then Suzette Smickler.
Thank you. Arthur Epp, 206 East Main Street. Congratulations, Mayor, on your election. And congratulations to our newly minted board. The notion of equality was spoken about earlier. And I wanted to bring about the fact that you actually, Mayor, have two legacies. First, there's the legacy of your father being a previous mayor in this community. Then there's also a legacy that we don't speak about very often. You're the fourth woman to become mayor since incorporation 60 years ago. It started in 1971 with Sandra Schwenk, who was the first woman mayor on Long Island. She served 3 terms, then Jean Garant served 3 terms, then Margot Garant 7. So if I do my math correctly, you're beginning the 27th year of a woman being chief executive of this village. I think it's something we all should be proud of, and it's an indication of the notion of equality thriving in this community. And I want to wish you all good luck and leave you with one simple quote from Mother Teresa: peace begins with a smile. Thank you.
Thank you. Suzette?
so it sounds boring now. Congratulations, Mayor Shepro. Suzette Smokler, 22 Loretta Gate, resident 47 years. I actually wasn't going to say anything because I feel selfish saying it after I've heard, I don't know how many of these people speak. Mark Robinson got to me. I'd like to thank you and the others that have corrected a very serious traffic issue that affected my entire neighborhood, which would be Loretta Gate and Chuck Court. What has changed as a result of work that has been done is just remarkable. So at some later date, I was going to come and complain about speeding. But I think there's been a problem identified that I don't know what the answer is, but I'm expecting you people to figure it out. The cops are not doing anything about whether it's rolling through stop signs or speeding. So thank you for what you did, because I think what you and the previous board did saved a lot, is saving serious accidents. So it's a bit selfish, but doesn't everybody agree that maybe the cops ought to be giving some tickets to people that are doing more than 30 miles an hour where they shouldn't be? And Mark, glad you brought it up. Thank you again.
Thank you. Last call. Bruce Miller.
Bruce Miller, 109 Scraggy Hill Road, Port Jefferson, New York. Greetings, Lauren, Mayor Shepro, and congratulations on a hard-won come-from-behind victory. You ought to be congratulated. I would like to thank also Bob and Drew and Stan for their service, and congratulate them on gaining office or remaining in office. I'd like to wish you all well, because when you do well, we do well. I don't want to take a lot of time, but in the interest of brevity, I would say if you need any assistance, just call. Thank you.
You can rest assured we will be calling, Bruce Miller. Okay. Anyone else? I know. Okay. Thank you very much for your public comments. Appreciate it. I think the pilot worked well, and we'll try it again next month. Okay? I'm closed. No, I'm just kidding. Come on.
Tracy Donnelly, 2 Stern Drive. So I did send an email earlier, and I know that we've been going back and forth, and I do appreciate you sharing your cell phone number, so thank you for that. But I just figured I'd ask now rather than try to wait for us to catch up. How can new residents or people that actually want to be involved in your committees, your task forces, and all those things actually do it? I don't know how that happens, and so...
Did Trustee Cassay put you up to this?
Yes,
Because
she definitely did before this. She told me. She said, if you get
Ask
up,
about this.
I'll bake you another casserole. So I said yes. She made me vegetable lasagna. That was great. So I'm being bribed right now.
Yeah, nice. The
So
other lasagna's
I'll let
on
her
its way.
respond, because we're working on this together.
Very good. Yes. So Trustee Shepro and I have discussed exactly this. How do we engage?
Trustee Giuliano,
Yeah.
it was an idea that he came up with as well, so sorry about that.
Yep. So the board has consensus. How do we engage a greater number of residents? We have a gold mine of very passionate, smart people in this village, and how do we make sure that not only do residents have an opportunity, but they are aware of that opportunity to serve their village. Many of us have served the village in other ways. I was on the Conservation Advisory Council, and that was sort of my entree into village service. And so what we're working on right now is an online forum, like a Google forum, where residents can enter their information, name, they can check box any of the committees, task forces, or boards that they're interested in, put, a little bit about themselves and then upload their CV, a resume.
Right.
And so when there's any open position, of which there might be many coming up for the board to review, but then going forward, when there's, the zoning board has an open position, the concept would be that the Board of Trustees, or probably the clerk, pulls all of the submissions for anyone who checked the zoning board, reach out and say, hey, are you still interested? And then the board members would look at the CVs and sort of rank them, based on, interest of the individual board members, saying, okay, this looks like a strong candidate, this, and as a board, we would make a decision, of who of those whom step forward would be the best candidate to fill that position.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So,
Absolutely.
Is there a list somewhere of all the committees and how many seats you want on them and all of that, so that there's transparency in the process, so we can understand, like, are there limits? Are there? I just don't know what the process is. Does that exist, or if it doesn't, will it exist?
Yeah, so in the agenda, you can see there is a holdover from the information that currently is on file for all of the existing boards and committees. And so there was some question about term expiration dates.
Right.
So that is going to be clarified hopefully in the next 2 weeks before the next meeting. And any of the new committees or task forces or boards that are being proposed will be clarified with mission statements, so that both the existing and the new will have descriptions, and this ideally will be posted on the village website, somewhere very clear, so that residents can come, engage, read through, and say, okay, these three sound really interesting to me. I'm going to submit my information, and as there's an opening, they'll be contacted.
Oh, that's great. And can residents put in a request for a committee? Like if we have a particular interest, or, obviously my son spoke before, so if he has an interest in some sort of a youth committee, because I've started to notice some youth getting interested, is there an opportunity for us as residents to propose committees or task forces that we think are relevant if we put together, a process or a petition to sort of say, hey, these are things that are important to us, or
I think that's how this all started in the first place, so absolutely, yeah.
Great, excellent, thank you,
Please.
appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you for a great question.
Okay, closing the public comment section. Now we're going to get into board reports. So I'd like to start with Trustee Giuliano. If we could start down on the right.
Thank you very much. It's strange being up here on this side of the desk, so I do appreciate this opportunity to address you and to serve you, and I just want to let you know that at any time, if you have any questions or anything, my door is open. Always ask me. I'll respond to you as soon as I can. And that being said, one of the first things I want to do is announce that I'm going to be starting office hours. I'm going to be calling them Saturday Sit Down with Bob. What I want to do is, what I'm going to do is go to the Village Center, 9:30 a.m. I'll be starting it September 9th, and I'll be doing it the first or second Saturday of each month. But the first one will be September 9th at the Village Center in the living room. I'll be there from 9:30 to 11, and I invite you all just to come up. If you have any questions, concerns, whatever, as we just heard, if you want to join a committee or anything, by all means, please come, sit down with me, talk with me, and I'll bring those concerns back to the board. I also, hit the ground running. I gave the interim attorney a proposed code change that I wanted to see if we could get into the books. It has to do with when developers come and apply to the IDA for pilots or for property tax exemption, that they would start at zero. So instead of that, the code change would say it will not starting at zero. Whatever they're paying now, that's the bottom line, and then we'll work it up from there. So that so the village will not be losing any money. One of my appointments that Mayor Shepro made is I'll be the liaison to the tax and to the assessment board, and I want to work with them so that assessments are going to be fair and equitable. So that's one of the things. We're hitting the ground running right away. A pet peeve I had when I was going around and campaigning, somebody asked me, do you have any pet peeves? And one of the things that I noticed when I'm walking, there was a sign up at Perry's, up just across the street from Tara's, that didn't allow a left-hand turn onto Perry Street. And the previous administration did a code change allowing left-hand turns onto Perry Street, but that sign was left up there, and it was a pet peeve that I had, and so I talked to DPW, and the sign is down now. So you can make a left-hand turn, you don't have to worry about the sign. You know, if you're looking at the sign, say, I can't, you can turn onto Perry Street now, and that sign is down. Paws, we have a Paws Dog Festival. I think it was talked about earlier. July 15th and 16th over at Joe Erlin Field. It's going to be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It was a great event last year. Unfortunately, I wasn't here to see it last year, but everybody told me it was a great event. So I invite everybody to come on down and look at the event. Dogs jumping into a gigantic pool of water and just having a great time. It's something to be held, and it's from what Kevin told me, we have the most dogs on the East Coast that are signed up for this event. So it's definitely something that is good for the village. Unfortunately, in the 18 years I served as clerk, I think I missed only 5 meetings. And unfortunately, the next meeting I won't be able to be at. I just want to let everybody know that it's not because I don't want to be there, but I had a conflict. I have a family vacation scheduled already. So at the next meeting, I won't be there, but hopefully we'll be able to stream it. Kevin, I don't know if you and I can talk about that. If it can be streamed, then I can tune in from New Hampshire, where I'll be. And that's all I have for right now. Thank you very much, and I appreciate working with every single person here and with all the residents of the village, and hopefully we'll make the village a better place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Trustee Biondo.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. It's having sat on the other side of this dais, I know that it's important that residents participate in their government. So for the past week, what have I done? I've met with the mayor, I've met with Trustee Cassay, and I've toured a few of the facilities here in the village. I'll be liaison to building and planning, and I was over there. I saw DPW, and I'm still learning a lot. Even though I have a lot of government experience, the village is very different, and I'm trying to learn the ins and outs of it. And I've heard some great things, and I've heard things that I think need to be fixed, and I'll be discussing with the mayor and the village attorney and see how we can streamline processes and make them better. More to come. Thank you. And thank you for your confidence in me. I know I'm unelected, but I'll work hard to gain your confidence.
You have mine. Thank you, Drew. Trustee Cassay.
Thank you. Okay, well, it's great to hear, Bob. You've hit the ground running, and just looking forward to working together with this new board. Beginning with, I didn't see that it went out in the email, but I'll email to the rest of the board members a presentation regarding gas-powered leaf blowers. This is something that the Conservation Advisory Council has been discussing for a number of months, and as their liaison on behalf of the board, I asked them to present me with some information to present to this board. So there was a very well-presented slideshow from a group in New Jersey who went step by step and started with a public education campaign, moved to have a sort of voluntary ban of, sort of voluntary on the residents' part to not use gas-powered leaf blowers. There was a survey sent out after that asking about residents' opinions on whether or not the municipality should move forward with limiting the number of hours or days that gas-powered leaf blowers could be moved. The residents came back and said, yes, we would like there to be this to be codified. And then at that point, the municipality passed a code change to limit the hours and days during which gas-powered leaf blowers can be used. There is I do not have enough time to talk about the health, and air quality and environmental negative effects of gas-powered leaf blowers, but we do want to find a reasonable way forward to start to over a long period of time, talking years, perhaps a decade, phase out the use here in the village in a way that's fair to everyone who has this equipment, but also fair to neighbors and everyone who is affected by the negative externalities of the use of gas-powered leaf blowers. So I will send out that presentation and look to discuss that as a board. Next steps, and the CAC also is looking at next steps and research as well. I want to thank the volunteers who have been coming out to the pollinator and rain gardens to help spruce them up and keep them looking good. I see Kelly out there. I know we had tree help from Kathleen. So there's, that's another effort or an example of an effort that we're looking to engage village volunteers in, even if they don't want to commit to a committee of sorts, to have a more centralized way to reach out to volunteers and say, hey, there's an opportunity here. I know Mayor Shepro talked about working with Stony Brook University and their volunteer day, so definitely looking to that. The Complete Streets and Walkability Plan is moving forward. There's a firm, Hayduck Engineering, who is looking at a arterial network of streets throughout Port Jefferson Village. The step they're currently on is to drive by and sort of measure and look at the current signage and conditions of the streets in this arterial network. So that's sort of imagining a map that connects all of the neighborhoods and parks and schools and public transit and commercial centers, those more major roads there, and seeing, once they catalog the roads, they're going to create a matrix of roads that are priorities and different methods to make those streets safer for pedestrians and cyclists who are moving without a vehicle on those roads, so that all of our residents of all ages can go from their neighborhoods to these different points of interest in a safer way. So that the whole study should be done in the course of 3 or 4 months, and so I'm looking forward to keeping the public apprised on what's happening there. Port Pause event, volunteers are needed for this event as well. So I know that there's opportunities for volunteers 16 and up. So if anyone has teenagers at home, or if anyone is at home and wants to just come help out the village, the Conservancy is raising money with this event. So it's a great way to contribute to the community and also just have a great day. I know last year I brought my dog, who in no number of lifetimes would jump off into a pool, but he did enjoy. They have a free track that they sort of like the dog racing where they have the rabbit on a string. You can have your dog try that out, and my dog, who's quite shy, still enjoyed that. So should you have a dog or not, come on down and enjoy. And please, if you do have a few hours this weekend, consider volunteering for the event, because that would help make it a great success. Continuing work under the Department of State Climate Resilience Planning with a focus on flooding. We're currently analyzing the survey results from residents who submitted their thoughts after watching the flood resilience study and presentation by Companion Schwarting Architects. And we'll be working with Hirani Engineering to prioritize areas of focus, with the ultimate goal of creating a timeline of different projects that will help to mitigate the flooding here in Port Jefferson. I know I always feel like the bearer of bad news, but we'll never stop the flooding in Port Jefferson Village. We were Drowned Meadow before we were Port Jefferson. And so the goal of this study is to see which areas we do want to focus on for mitigation efforts, and take it from there. 6 Acre Park, we're currently, the chair of the 6 Acre Park Committee, Kelly and I are currently working on assisting the grant writers with different documentation, letters of support from community members, other nonprofits, to apply for the New York State Environmental Protection funding to fund the next step, which is taking the concept plan and making sort of shovel-ready plans for this parkland. So that grant is due later this month, and the application's due later this month, and then sometime in, I believe, December, we'll hear back one way or the other. Already touched upon the online form for residents who are interested in volunteering for boards, committees, and/or events. So please keep an eye out for that. We hope to perhaps have that released later this month. And then conversations are ongoing for water capture and/or reuse for the Port Jefferson Country Club. We're pulling in a lot of partners from around Suffolk County and the Northeast to look at either capturing stormwater in a pond system at the country club, or as crazy as it sounds, it's been done to reuse the effluent water from the Port Jefferson sewage treatment plant, piping that under the harbor and up to the country club, because that is an unlimited amount of water, and it's already chock full of nitrogen and phosphorus, which are fertilizers that the country club purchases to use. So if those things cannot go in the harbor and instead go on our golf course, it's win-win-win. So we're having really exciting conversations, and I hope to find feasibility there. Oh, thank you. See, and we have Belterre support, so that is key in order to pipe over. So thank you. And so that is the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Just very briefly, my report. I'll start with, well, I've been meeting like crazy, talking to people, catching up with everything that has been going on in the village. Meeting with department heads, touring facilities, understanding really where everybody is focused, what their interests are, and trying to address things and prioritize them. So it's I'll use the cliche adage that I'm drinking from a fire hose, literally. There are a lot of important needs, issues, priorities that have been expressed to me to address. So bear with me as I work through them. Some of the things that I actually campaigned on and was received a lot of positive feedback from residents about was to first look into creating and updating our ethics code. So basically, we have appointed an ethics attorney who is expert in this area. The process is that there is an updated draft of the ethics code that is developed, and it becomes reviewed and commented on by the Board of Trustees, and it comes then to a public, comes into a resolution to adapt this code after a public hearing. I did. I finished that. I'll just, I'm sorry, anybody who's watching, if this is affecting you, but I'll just keep going. I'm sorry. So anyway, so the goal is to adopt a local public ethics code for the village of Port Jefferson. It should be a very interesting process, and then from there we will look at appointing a board of ethics. So more to come there. As Trustee Cassay mentioned, I've met already with representatives from Stony Brook University's Student Affairs Office, and they have expressed a great deal of interest and enthusiasm in working with Port Jefferson Village as we call a living laboratory, in one sense of the terminology, but also to become an area in which their students can bring their knowledge, their experience, and their talents to village businesses, village departments, in areas such as social work, communications, engineering, on and on. There is such a robust level of talent at the university, very diverse, very broad. There are thousands and thousands of students there. Last I checked, I don't want to get this wrong, but nearly 30,000 students. More undergrad than grad, but I think we'll have a very successful working relationship. Starting with on August 26th, the university sponsors a community service day for all of their students, and their students are required actually to sign up to participate in any one of multiple community service opportunities. So making this plea to anyone who's listening that if there is a community service opportunity that you find could be helped and aided by the use of many hands from Stony Brook, talk to me about it, and we'll get that information over to the university. There's also a family weekend on September 23rd, which the university has invited us to offer any kind of public events, opportunities, promotions, et cetera, to engage the parents and the families from Stony Brook attending this family weekend to come down and enjoy the amenities of Port Jefferson Village. So more to come on that relationship. Earlier in the work session, the Board of Trustees voted to passed a resolution to create a budget and finance committee. So we are on the way there. The next step there will be to recruit members of the finance committee. So I think we'll begin that engagement with the establishment of the new recruitment tool that Trustee Cassay talked about. Michael Mart, I know that we've been working to recruit members of a short-term, long-term rental evaluation sort of working group, and we have a number of volunteers. It is a priority of mine to start to kick that off. A lot of things got in the way of that over the past 10 weeks or so, but know that that is a priority, and there are quite a few people who have expressed interest in participating in that. So look for some information on that soon, and you are on that list. And then finally, we're looking to establish and I talked about this also during the campaign season, is to establish a LIPA power plant working group to address the issue of the glide path settlement sort of going away over the next few years, so that we can get ahead of that issue, maybe look at repowering, somehow working with energy partners to repower that plant in some way, shape, or form. Don't know what that looks like, but I know we have a lot of smart people in Port Jefferson who have raised their hand and said, we want to participate in that. And so that will start by meeting just a small group, meeting with National Grid this week, actually, to start that dialogue with the landlord there. So so that's underway. So look for more information on that in terms of the development of the mission and the vision of that group, and hopefully that will really help us address this before it gets too late to be addressed. And that concludes my report. And since we already had public comment, is it time to adjourn? Do we have a motion to? So we don't have an attorney, or the village attorney's not here. So we're gonna hold off on exec session until Mr. Moran comes back. No offense, Mr. Harris, not at all. But Do I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Huh?
Something wrong? Okay.
Aye.
Thank you.
Night,
Passed
everyone.
unanimously.
No, I think.
Thank you.